Greetings, Retro Zoltan here. I have in front of me for review the Powkiddy RGB10 Max2, which is a quick entry from Powkiddy to one-up its own RGB10 Max that they had also released this year. This release is arguably one of the best Powkiddy handhelds to date for 2021, and I'll show you why. The best way to understand why the RGB10 Max2 is so great, you really have no choice but to compare it to its predecessor. While I found the original RGB10 Max fairly impressive, things that needed changing were almost instantly improved upon. The first notable difference is the 5-inch screen, which is brighter than the last. I remember feeling that the original RGB10 was a bit dimmer, even after software modifications using RetroOz firmware, so this is a welcome improvement. Another change is the overall plastic, which doesn't have that rubbery feel anymore. This is a personal preference, of course, but this feels more soothing in my hands and doesn't feel weird to me like when I held the original version. I'll probably miss the rubbery texture when this thing slips out of my hand someday. The colors available for this plastic are a white, a black, and a pink. I really like how this feels when you hold it, and to be honest, it feels like an Anbernic RG351M with the 3D printed handles, only lighter and less clunky. It's extremely comfortable, which to be honest makes it a better overall immersive experience when you're beating on people with a pipe. Triggers and shoulder buttons are now stacked and are much easier to use in this hardware version. Instead of the typical triggers and shoulder buttons beside each other, you now get a design that's very much inspired by the Nintendo Switch. In fact, if you compare the two, you can probably assume the Nintendo design team probably feels pretty proud of themselves. The D-pad is also improved, and I think it feels really good. It feels nice, pivots nicely, and is pushed out far enough so it doesn't go flush when you get all crazy with this thing. The ABXY buttons are now labeled, which is a nice touch, and also feels really good, and recess out just enough so you can feel around for them easily. They are noticeably a bit small, but I really don't think that's a deal breaker by any means. The analog sticks feel as good as they did before, very responsive and click when you want to use them for buttons as well. Function buttons like the select and start are located in the same spots like before. I think they are well placed and out of the way like I like them. It's harder to tell if only one speaker works on this thing like its last version, which I guess is a good thing. The quality of the speakers, though, still makes headphones a better option. The top of the unit has all the things the original had as well, with a minor change to the volume control, which I really like. It still rocks the power and reset button, Wi-Fi controls, charging, headphones, OTG port, and SD slot. I would be shocked if you needed anything else added here. So let's talk about the software. The consensus is that people like the original software that it comes with the exception of some questionable included artwork that had people concerned before giving it to their children. It was a bad choice of artwork to showcase innocent media, but not the end of the world. I think they were just going for something familiar to adults, and it sort of backfired.
Naughty, naughty!
Out of the box, games on here run perfect until you get up past PlayStation 1. The triad of emulation slowdowns, PSP, Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast all have issues keeping up, depending on what game you play. If you want better, you have to start changing things like your firmware, like I did with the RGB10 Max 1 in my last video, which improved performance greatly. It's still not perfect, but it's as close as you're going to get with this chipset. Picking up a Powkiddy RGB10 Max 2 today will run you about $130 USD, but I suspect as the newer chipset starts getting more popular next year, this will lower considerably. If you like to buy used, certainly start trolling eBay now for people trading the RGB10 Max 2 up for the latest Anbernic. When comparing to the Powkiddy RGB10 Max, the improvements are hard to ignore. it generally feels better, and I think you'll agree with me that it's one of the best Powkiddy products to date. It seemed odd that the company released two systems using the same chipset so quickly, one after another, but I'm glad they did. Should you buy one of these things? If Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, and PSP are super important to you, I say wait and look to see what Anbernic comes out with next, unless if you want to mess around with custom firmware. Otherwise, it's an incredible system, and honestly, my current favorite. So what do you think about this? Are you planning to grab one, or are you going to wait? I love your comments, so please let me know. And if you like reviews like this, please feel free to subscribe and let me know what you'd like to see me review next. And that's all I have to say about the Powkiddy RGB10 Max2. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye!